Greetings, salutations, family. Look, if you're a Florida fan of most teams, woof, it's been a little bit of a rough weekend, right? The Bucks, Bucks kind of let me down there, and we'll see about these Cowboys. I ain't even stressing about them. Um, the Jaguars won. I give you that. I don't know what the Cowboys gonna do tonight, but we were definitely on campus. We're gonna talk about the football game tomorrow with ONG Strike Zone. What's up, little baby? But tonight, I got my favorite softball coach in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. First time on Fangs Up. Not my first time talking to her. Not gonna lie. I've talked to Coach Beall on round one with St. Clair Moraine. That's what happens when you drink a little bit of lemonade and it gets a little twang to it. And I also met her at the the football game last week. So I was like, "Hey, Coach, like, make sure I introduce you, meet in person." She's like, "Oh my gosh!" So I'm super excited. So give y'all something to believe in. I'm getting y'all a little excited, little baby, you look. That was organic too. That was not planned. It was. I was hoping Coach Beall would come on, and man, she thought it not robbery to come on. So, give y'all a little hope, a little excitement, and hoping to lift everybody up. When some of y'all are kind of frustrated, you already know what's up. What it's always about to be. Thanks, up.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it? Yes, he does!
And that might be the knockout punch.
Again, greetings, salutations, family. Look, got a special guest today, man. So give y'all a little something to believe in. And should you believe in this coach? Why should you believe in this program? In 1 year at FAMU, it's already brought home the hardwood a couple times, man. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you, man. I'm not selling you something I wouldn't buy myself. And she's also at a top 100 university. Again, the number one public HBCU. If you didn't see it, so let the naysayers say what they want. But we got a good coach. We had a good school. So we got some good things going on. If you want to continue to support Coach Beall and all athletics, join the Rattler Boosters. October's in a few days, so y'all know what my commitment is. What's up, Gail? So if you haven't already done so, come on, support. They support all the FAMU athletic teams. And yeah, it's October. So by the end of the month, I got to make my birthday pledge for me to get back financial with the Rattler Boosters. So, but again, I told y'all I've talked to Coach Beall before on round one with St. Clair Moraine. Gracious host, amazing, and I love. She don't be ducking no questions, man. She don't duck no smoke. Like she's amazing, and don't forget, if you haven't already done so, join our race to 10K. I want to say I'm going to pull up the tracker. We've raised about $1,000. I'll double check with the Fangs Exchange, but for the year, we've raised about $1,000. Let's keep pushing. So I appreciate everyone who's donated, and I thank everyone who will donate. And I feel like some of y'all are gonna also support the softball team going forward. They got something going on. And look, I'm not selling you something I don't support. This is a picture I took. I have been to FAMU softball games. I've probably gone to more FAMU softball games than almost every sport except for football. So if y'all don't know, I took Coach Wiggins when I was a student at FAMU. She was a softball coach. She taught the class. So she used to talk cash money, and that's like my other mama. So again, only reason I don't go when they go to Daytona is that location. Like my car can't be getting hit by stray balls. I'm sorry. Like otherwise I would go. But I gotta check the schedule. If they come to UCF, I'm definitely down. And USF, I'm definitely down for that one too, man. So those are like 45-minute to hour rides. So not throwing no plugs out there, but hoping to see that happen. Also, we get a softball complex in my city. So I don't know. I would love for HBCUs to come out there. So, just kind of putting that out there. And look, My coach is amazing. Look, I'm telling you, look, if you're a Kappa, there's this brother named Brother Malpress, and it's a poor frog who doesn't promote his own pond. I'm gonna tell you how great my coach is because softball season ain't started yet, and she's already recruited and gotten a commitment for players from down in Houston. Eustace, Skylar Scott, highly regarded academic student who's also can play. So I'm just saying, she's recruiting well, she's winning championships, and on top of that, you know, I don't know what else to tell you, man. Besides, my coach is better than yours. And she's on Fangs Up tonight. What's up, Coach Beall? Got you on mute, Coach. But look, I tell you, look, I'm bragging about my coach today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on, Coach. If y'all don't know, look, my coach comes with credentials. Coach was at Eustis High School, won championships. Like you got a championship level coach who was highly regarded by other schools. Look, I told y'all better treat my coach right because look, other folks see how great she is and how amazing she is. And she was amazing in college too. She played at Auburn, War Eagle. I don't know if you were there when some of my childhood friends were there, but could you just tell us a little bit about your experience as a softball player at Auburn?
So my experience at Auburn was great. It was definitely football season was definitely, I think for me, that was the winning ticket for me to go to Auburn just to see the football and, the camaraderie back between, the Alabama and Auburn. And people always talk about rivals. And that's one of the biggest rivals that you'll ever meet or ever be able to see, experience. But my time at Auburn was great. I learned a lot of things. I, met some of my best friends that I still talk to every single day, people that were in my wedding. Academics was good, but I think that was a good foundation for me to be able to learn adversity, to learn how to fight, to learn what it meant to really be a great teammate. And so those are all the qualities and things I'm trying to make sure that we implement here at FAMU. Although Coach Wiggins, laid down a great foundation. She came out and talked to the girls this Saturday. And just to kind of hear her story, and it was nice for her to be able to meet some of the freshmen that had never met her, and for her to kind of lay down, the history of the MEAC and the history of FAM, and just, the things that, she was able to teach, Coach Orr, Coach Patterson. So it was just nice to kind of be able to just be in her presence. And every time she speaks as a coach, I just soak it all up. So, yeah.
Look, and it was the same way in class. She was an amazing teacher. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was one of those classes I took, and it was like, all right, coach. I remember I was at the plate swinging and hitting, and she actually had us behind the net. She just threw the ball up, and she was like, hit the ball. I'm like, coach, I don't want to accidentally hit you. She said, I put so much English on this ball, you won't hit me. I said, yes, ma'am, and never did. She was amazing.
Amazing.
And you're talking about the game you're soaking up, and I don't know if people have been following y'all social media pages. If you haven't, please follow the softball team on their social media pages because y'all putting in work. Like, ain't no half stepping going on. Like, no games are being played, Coach Beall. Could you kind of talk about those fall workouts and the commitment you're getting from the ladies and all the supporters you have?
Yeah, so we work out, 3 days a week at 5:45 in the morning, but just to before we started having our workouts, our team meeting, and we set our expectations first off of what we expect, and the girls also set their expectations of what they expect out of each teammate. So we're training with Coach Jay. This is the first year with Coach Jayla. She is great. She's very knowledgeable, and she knows how to draw out that how can I say this, that tough, and she always talks about earn it. You got to earn it. And so, I was able to sit down with Coach Jay before we started and kind of tell her, like, as a coach, the things that I wanted to see my players work on and as a team. And she took it and she's been working daily on trying to achieve those things as for me, what I want to see in my team, but also being able to understand, the needs and the wants of the girls. So, they're disciplined in the weight room. They work extremely hard. Mondays are their tough days, meaning they got to run a lot of gassers. So she has them doing gassers, running up the stadium stairs, pushing sleds, pulling sleds. Last week we worked out with ROTC, and we're so thankful for that opportunity to be able to work out with them last week. So we're just trying to put them in uncomfortable positions because we know that the game of softball is yes, it's routine. Yeah, if you can hit, you throw, you can, play ball, but how are you going to respond in that 7th inning against Bethune-Cookman and the score is 0-0? Are you going to lay down or are you going to rise up to the occasion? So just trying to be able to put them in uncomfortable positions to where they understand, all of the preparation, all of the work that they have done thus far is going to get them there. It's not a marathon, it's one step at a time. So we're piecing everything together and trying to make sure that we're taking care of what we need to do in the weight room, taking care of what we need to do academically, of course, and then obviously on the field. So we're hitting all those things, and we're in the right direction. And I really believe that if we stay committed and consistent with those 3 things, that we'll be successful.
Yes, ma'am. And I love that you mentioned the academics. That's one of the things I think sometimes we lose, and that's one of those, one of the reasons I mentioned the recruit. I ain't gonna say her name because I got coach on here, so I don't want nobody saying that. No. I didn't say no names with coach on the show. Coach was not on the show when I said any names. But I love that you committed to making sure that our students are students and they're not just athletes. Could you speak about just some of the work that they put in? Because softball routinely has one of the higher APRs on campus.
Yeah. And for me, being a former educator for 16 years. So they got the coach, they got the teacher, and they got the mom and me. So when I was flipping through my calendar, getting ready for our podcast, I was looking at the grade sheets. Every coach get grade sheets on Friday, and I go through them with a fine tooth comb. And, I get a great report. It said the class averages, let's say, for instance, the class averages is 70. And, my girl has I don't know, I'm throwing it out there. She doesn't have this, but I'm just saying maybe a 75 or something like that. I don't care what the class average is. I care about what you have. And so they understand that I could care less about Johnny or Dre or Marcus that's sitting in the classroom. I care about you. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, if you need help, we're going to get you help early. We're not going to wait until, November or wait until April, right before 2 weeks before before the semester ends. But I want to make sure that they understand that, academics are important as well. So you can't perform, because I've seen that to where, my girls are fairly smart. And so when things aren't going the way that they hoped in the classroom, it affects them on the field. And so I want to make sure that we don't get to that point to where it's going to affect them. So it's a lot of things that I think that a lot of people don't understand as a coach. Yes, you coach the game, but then there's so many other things that are very important to helping, shape and mold and push and do all those things, because I want their very best on the field. So all of those other things, the boxes got to be checked for me to be able to have the quality, player that I need and that we need at FAMU.
Okay. And I love that. I wasn't even planning on going that direction. I'm also a teacher though. And I didn't get 16 years. I'm at my daughter is 14. So we're at year number, I think 9. Something like that. So,
and I taught biology, so I know.
Oh, God bless you. Yeah. No, I'm social sciences. About to add that ed leadership to my certification. Okay. But could you just speak to kind of doubling down in that space? How does that help you as a college coach, having that foundation in not really K-12, but if you want to say K-12, how does that help you make that next step as far as building the holistic player at the college level?
Just because at the same time, when you're recruiting, we're looking at transcripts. And so a lot of coaches some coaches, I don't know, rely on compliance, which is important to go through and check off and make sure all those things. But I think for having me, I can really understand, okay, listen, you got, you may have a 3.0, but you may have a 2.6, within your core classes. And so, I think having a APR, a good APR score can kind of help on some of those players that maybe, tittering the line. But at the same time, I have to be upfront. We had a few we had a few girls that we saw a lot of interest in, but we had to tell them, listen, academically, you got to meet the standard that FAMU has. And so setting that standard high, is it disappointing? Absolutely. But at the same time, at FAMU, they want the best. So we got to bring the best. And so if you want to come to FAMU, if you want to play for Coach Beall, you got to bring your best academically and, athletically as well.
Okay. Look, I love that. Look, I told y'all, look, when I tell y'all how bought in, like softball is one of those sports for me. It don't take but 2 games for them to win. And then I'm a rational fan. Like I promise y'all, I've been to more FAMU softball games.
And they're exciting, aren't they? Yeah, a lot of people don't know, and I'm like, you just got to come and experience it. But it's fun. There's a lot happening. Cheers, back and forth. Just it's a lot of fun.
It's a different game. Like the atmosphere is different. I think, especially if you're a football fan, and I'm a football fan.
I love football
I think
too.
It's the closest thing to football because both teams are chanting. Like the girls are chanting, they're singing, and you're just like, oh, what is this? And eventually you buy in because you're hearing the players are bought in, and it's so much fun. If you've never been to a FAMU softball game, go to the game, leave a little $5 in a donation, something. Do one of the raffles, do something to support. It's free normally. It's so much fun.
It is.
So mention the fun of FAMU softball, and I don't want to hold you too long. We're gonna keep you a little bit. I don't want to abuse your time because I want you to come back. Fall ball. I do notice y'all are playing one of my alma maters. I'm one of those crazy people. My family, I joke. I was like, my family's crazy. We love education for some reason, and we keep going to school. But y'all playing Tallahassee State College and some of the other local area schools. Could you just speak about the fall ball schedule and why that's important?
We have 8 games. So we're going to play Pensacola. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Pensacola, Chipola. We are going to play FSU. We're going to play Tallahassee State twice. We're going to play St. John's, and then who else? Tuskegee. And I think I'm missing one. One more. But again, 8 games, 10 innings for the game. So that again, that's going to allow our players to be able, and our pitching rotation to be able to have a good quality, a number of innings. I think for fall ball, it's a good time to see how much they have worked, because right now we're on 8-hour weeks. So 8-hour weeks consist of in the weight room and then individual skill work that we have with the girls. So some of them may not see each other on the same day and all those things. So we kind of try to navigate that, because fall season is a lot about getting acclimated with obviously school work. Because in the spring, it's chaotic. We're traveling, they're on the road, all those things. So I think fall is going to give us a really good depiction on how hard they have worked thus far, but then it's also going to show us where we need to work on. I'm a big person. I like exposure, meaning, some things need to be exposed so that we can work on them. And so I don't want us to be a picture perfect team right now, which I think we're really good right now, but I want us to be able to have something to work towards, to move towards, to explain, to teach and mold. So I think these fall games are going to be great for us. It's going to be great for us to be able to get in some freshmen. We do have some transfers in there. So it's going to be good to see how they get in and how they interact with everybody. But we've been doing some scrimmage games, just in-house scrimmage games, and allowing them to be able to compete. And we're doing a whole point system just to give them a little fun. And so I think it's gone very, very well so far.
Okay. I love that. And I see that you mentioned the individuals, right? That's one of the things that's super important. I love your coaching staff as well. Like I saw kind of some of the coaches you brought in. Could you kind of speak of, how you've been able to utilize the coaching staff yourself to kind of develop those individual traits and really hone in on creating more well-rounded players?
Yeah, so like our pitchers, they all, get to throw individually with Coach Jess. And so I think having them be able to throw, they have a day of cardio because, pitchers, they can go, multiple games, but they have to have the endurance. They have to have the legs to be able to do those things. And so again, having them do that on top of working on their specific pitches. Outfielders, we have them separated into two groups. So just having that small time, intimate time with them and allowing and being able to break down certain things, I think is very intentional about how we're trying to move. And it gives them a sense of voice, of understanding. So right now it's all about understanding and getting familiarized with each other, and obviously in how we like to coach as well. Because again, I think we brought in 11 girls. So, 11 girls have to get acclimated to, my craziness. And so, but I think they're doing well with it and they're adjusting well. So in their minds, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, this, oh my gosh, but we're setting that expectation. And I always want to make sure my expectations or our expectations as a team are very loud. I don't want any, hey, I didn't know, I thought, no, this is what it is. This is what we want. So I just think breaking down, Nia Morgan, she's working with the catchers. And I think having her be able to still be a part of, FAMU softball is very huge as a graduate assistant. So, just being able to break down positions and be intentional about how we're moving, I think that's going to benefit us in the long run.
Okay. And I love that you mentioned, players getting used to your crazy, right? And you mentioned some of the freshmen. Look, if y'all haven't seen, I think Coach Beall probably has more camps on campus than any other coach. And it's a double-edged sword, right? I kind of see the part where it helps, maybe bringing a little extra funding on the side, but it also helps with recruiting. Could you speak to just the importance of what recruiting has been for you while you're at FAMU, and maybe even mention how, the fact that you're a championship level high school coach coming to FAMU, can you talk about that recruiting a little bit?
Yeah, so recruiting this summer was absolutely insane. We worked hard. We were at almost every tournament, obviously in the state of Florida. We also traveled to Atlanta for a big showcase there. So, we were hitting up camps, working camps. I also had the opportunity to work at University of Florida for 3 days at their camp, just trying to soak up all the knowledge that I possibly can from Tim Walton, who's the head coach there. So, and then Coach Jess was all around state of Florida. We worked this summer. We wanted to make sure that we let people know, FAMU is here. And we're going to be successful. So just being able to make those connections with travel ball coaches, because that's kind of how the softball realm works, making sure that our social media is up to date, making sure that we make those small connections. And that's the big thing right now in softball. Yeah, you can sit at a tournament and watch, games, and, you could probably watch at a day's worth of tournament, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, games start at 8 a.m. and they probably end at like 10 p.m. So you can imagine how many softball games, and you're looking to see how they walk out the car. You're looking to see how they talk to their parents, how they interact. Can they interact with us? Can they fit in with our culture? So it's a lot. And then being able to take those girls that we see at tournaments and then invite them to camp. We've been very fortunate to have, 60 plus, 70 plus kids every time. And sometimes we have the same ones that are coming back. But again, they're trying to come back to obviously impress us and allow us to, be able to see them, like I said, in a more intimate setting. And that's kind of how the landscape of recruiting and tournaments and camps and how all that kind of works. Like I said, it's a little different for different sports. But if you just watch Twitter and you watch and see how many, colleges right now are having softball camps, just within this fall season, meaning from August to probably early December, each school is probably going to have at least 3 to 4 camps. And, your Power Fives are going to have, over 100 kids. But again, all 100 kids can't go to Power Five. The same thing with P4 and all those things. So just making sure that we bring people in, that want to be at FAM, that are going to be hungry, that are going to be dogs that bite. We want dogs that bite. But just like I said, it's been a very special time for us, and we actually have quite a few recruits coming in the next few weeks to some football games. So if you see us with a lot of girls, it's because we're doing something right.
I love that. And I'm gonna get Coach 2 more questions. Look, Coach is also
Okay.
a mom. Like, she's not just a mom.
My
on the
kids are
field.
somewhere. They're hopefully there and they're with my husband, but
She's a mom off the field too. Look, I'm telling you. Look, so spring schedule. I know we haven't got it released yet, but are there any, maybe?
it's done.
Oh, we done. Okay, we done.
I've done my part. I've already given it to Dennis, and I'm just waiting for him to just drop it. But it's been done. Yeah.
Okay. Look, if you can share it, share it with us.
I don't mind. The smoke gonna come either way. So, we're going to travel. So we got 4. They call them preseason games, but again, they're before obviously our SWAC game. So we are going to Campbell University. We were supposed to go there last year. But we ended up going to Florida instead. So Campbell, the head coach for Campbell, is one of my friends. She also played at Auburn. So, I couldn't renege on her twice. So we're going to go there, which is going to be cold. But then we are going to travel to Atlanta for the HBCU Invitational, which is also amazing. So if you've never attended that, that's where all the MEAC schools. What is Hampton in? What conference?
CAA.
Okay, so Hampton was there. Dell State, all those are there. So that's a great weekend. Very, very great weekend for the HBCU. We'll come back. We do have quite a few midweek home games. So some of the teams that are playing at Florida State want to stay for a few extra nights and play us. So we're going to play Marshall. And I don't know if FAM have ever played Marshall before. So we're going to host them at our field. We're going to travel down to FIU. We're going to play a weekend there. We have a midweek at Florida State. And then we are going to UCF. So when you say, oh, they're going to go to UCF, yeah, we are going to UCF. So I'm excited, very excited about that because a lot of our girls are from Central Florida. So that's a little home game, home game. Then we'll come back and then we'll start, SWAC. We're going to start off with Jackson State, which, yep. And then we do have a midweek with Auburn, which I'm excited about that. We host UNF. We'll go to Troy. And then we'll also go to JU for midweek. So I think we have a very good balanced schedule. Very good balanced schedule. So with our pitchers and catchers and like I said, speed and power, I think this is going to definitely set us up for, our competition in the SWAC.
I'm excited. Look, I didn't expect Coach to give that much of the schedule.
Look, a schedule is a schedule. I mean, it is what it is. You got to play it. So
I'm so excited, especially that y'all are coming to Orlando.
Yes.
Look, because some of the weekends, especially around spring break, when I go home, I'm like, all right, let me see where the softball team's playing. If they playing this weekend, and if it happens to fall on our spring break that we have, I normally make it my business to come up there. So
I'm excited. I'm super excited about
super excited, Coach. Also, before you get out here, one more thing. We got a little fundraiser going on for the softball team, trying to raise some coin. Could you, let us know about what's going on? All of us love all of our FAMU sports equally, but, every once in a while it takes all of us to give it a little extra push.
Yes. So Amber Fullwood, she is an alumni. She just this weekend, she got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And so because Justin and I were able to go into the Hall of Fame event and I was sitting there just listening to all these people and seeing how, from football to, basketball to tennis and to track and to swimming and just all the different contributors and that inducted to the Hall of Fame. And I just sit back and say, you know what? That's my goal. That's my goal. My goal is to be at FAM and to make it into the Hall of Fame as a coach one day. So, but anyways, Amber Fullwood, she is a 4-time MEAC champion. If you've never heard her story, it's one of the stories that you need to hear. She played under Coach Wiggins. Her class was the only class that graduated in 4 years. And she contacted me and said, listen, I really want to do something specifically for the softball team. Do you have any needs? So, I sent her, our top 5 needs, and she said, I'm going to do this. So I am very appreciative. We met Amber this weekend. Again, she was able to talk to the girls. We are going to post a picture that she presented the team with a check. And she's committed. And she challenged the rest of her softball alumni to listen. We can always talk about how much we want to give back. And she said, FAMU softball was something that made her who she is today. And so she said it was nothing but more fitting to be able to give back to something that was so dear and true to her heart. So we appreciate Amber. This is something that she is going to do forever. She's going to support softball. And I couldn't be more thankful for her to be able to step up to the plate and say, hey, I'm going to take the initiative and I'm going to take the stand to be able to give back. And so she started it, and hopefully it won't be the last, but I'm very thankful for her and what she is bringing to our program and being able to help us with, those needs that we need. So Amber, if you're listening, we appreciate you so much.
Look, I appreciate it, Coach. Look, I encourage everyone to get out there and support. Look, I'm just going to tell y'all, if you want to get excited about Coach Beall, just type her name in and type in softball FAMU, and you see like pictures of her celebrating at the high school level, at the college level. Great headshot there, Coach. Look, I'm not trying to butter up my coach. I'm just trying to tell you the truth about what's going on at FAMU. Like, we have an amazing coach. We have solid softball facilities. I will tell y'all, the only major improvement, probably the bleachers, and may want to, help them. But you know what? Pour into them. If you have a complaint, great turf field. Like, I don't know if y'all have been.
The field is amazing.
I played on the old field. It was nice, but this turf field, it looks different. They have nice batting cages that were recently, I believe they were redone, if I remember correctly, right?
We added a whole nother side on the left side, so we got 4 full lanes in the cages. So the field is beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah. So I just want to encourage everyone, like, especially day after whatever you feel about football, go get ready for softball, like softball, baseball.
And basketball and volleyball. Volleyball won today, so I'm very proud of them. We share, our locker rooms are very near, so I'm able to see, some of the girls, and I just try to encourage them. So, we want to make sure that we encourage all FAMU athletes. Being an athlete is nothing. It's not easy. It's not easy. And if you've never been an athlete, I mean, I don't want to say you will never know, but it's true. You'll never know. Being a college athlete, there's so much stuff that goes on in, personal life. And then you also have your academics, and then you got, the game and how the outcome is. It's a lot. It's a lot that they deal with. So just keep encouraging them. And as coaches, we just got to do better. We got to do better. We got to do better. And that's how it is.
Look, and that's how humble my coach is. Look, I told y'all, my first time meeting Coach in person was at the football game. It wasn't on the street, wasn't out and about. First time talking was on the show with St. Clair, but she's actively supporting the other programs, and other programs are supporting her. So, just want to make sure, we try to encourage y'all to support, encourage y'all to come out. Coach, before I let you go, do you have any words? Because I don't want you to be up like, this man had me up for a whole hour Sunday night. And I told him we got meetings at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I got to put these children down, and I'm trying to go to bed and get to sleep.
I appreciate it. No, just keep supporting FAMU athletics. We need your support from the beginning to the end, all sports. football, basketball, volleyball, tennis, golf, track. I don't even know golf. I already say golf, baseball, us, everybody, cheerleaders, band. We just need your support. Just continue to support and pray for us. Pray for the coaches because at the same time, it's a job. And I mean, I don't think any coach walks into any game trying to not bring their very best. So it's just, if you love FAMU, you love FAMU from the beginning to the end. So I thank y'all so much, and I'm happy to be a Rattler.
Man, look, we're so happy to have you, Coach Beall. I'll tell you, look, I'm so excited. I saw Coach on the sideline. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Coach!" And she's like, "Hold up," and I was like, "Oh, we were good." So I'm telling y'all, when I'm super excited about this program, I'm super excited this program. I'm looking forward to being at, especially game in Orlando. Look, we might even go live that night. Look, I ain't gonna hold you. Look,
do
UCF,
whatever
I'm gonna give you some
whatever
credit.
you need to do. I think we are gonna do some cooking. I think my brother's gonna cook for that game, so you better make sure you let me know if you come in.
I'm definitely going. I'm gonna be there. Look, that's a 30-minute ride. That's on the other side of town. I will be there. So look, let's see if we can get y'all and get connected with the Orlando Rattlers and get everybody out there to support for that night. Give us a night and we'll send it there, Mr. President, and let Pat know him and everybody in Florida region. We'll try to be there.
Well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Coach Beall. I'll let you go. I appreciate you.
All right, you guys have a great night.
All right. Hey man, look, tomorrow we're gonna talk about that game, man, that football game. But today, I want to make sure, I was trying to get Coach Beall on because I knew fall ball was coming. I didn't know last night was gonna be last night. I was definitely at the football game. I'm like y'all, I'm a little miffed. And I think little baby said, great time for a buffer. Like, just kind of smack dab before we get ready for Atlanta to have a little cooler moment, man. So, but tomorrow night, we're going to definitely talk about it. ONG Strike Zone. We're also going to have it here on the Fangs Up podcast, talk about it. If y'all did not hear, if you didn't see, hey, support. Let me move that right there so you can see it. So, Amber Fullwood, she's doing a softball foundation fundraiser. So, support the softball team. Also, y'all know we are also supporting the track team, trying to race the 10K. So, believe I'll double check, but I know we're hit $1,000 mark. We're trying to get it going, but we're gonna try to encourage more of the coaches to come on because, hey man, especially when you're a little down, nothing gets you up like some good news. And when you got good news about coaches who are competing for championships and who have all the accolades, right? I mean, Coach Beall was a pretty solid softball player. Like she's humble, but she was actually pretty good at Auburn. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a little honoring going on while she visits Auburn. And I love that other piece about the teacher side of her, where you can see where game recognized game is teachers. Like she's like, I already got the schedule out. I'm ready. Like, oh snap, let's go. And look, once we get them dates, y'all already know. I said we're probably gonna try to go live and maybe even try to do a little joint something with ONG from that one. UCF has a little better Wi-Fi than they had at than they had out there at the baseball night that night. So, but I appreciate Coach Beall and all of our coaches. Any of our coaches come on, Coach Colsey's come on, Coach Beall's come on. So just saying, man, hey, we're gonna let y'all talk about football tomorrow, man. So look, thank you, Reggie. Let the good people know. Please support the FAMU softball. We really want you to support all teams, but when I have the softball coach on here, I gotta tell you to support the softball team, man. Like they're winning and they have a tradition. Like we always talk about the standard of FAMU. FAMU softball has been a standard since before I was in school. And when I was in school, I tell y'all, look, Coach Wiggins upheld the standard and the coaches after continue to uphold that standard. I love it. So look, short show tonight. Tomorrow, we'll talk about the football game. But tonight, let's end on a happy note. Lift y'all up. Pray for your friends and love each other, man. And y'all already know what's up and what it's always going to be. Thanks up.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it get started.
Are you kidding me? Unreal.
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Dorsey, how